It's Monday, February 9th. In the headlines, $100 million for banana and plantain farmers affected by Hurricane Melissa. Water theft, its impact on health, structure, and your finance. In business news, international credit ratings affirm Jamaica's stability. Regionally, Antigua and Barbados being removed from the EU's grey list. And in sports, Jamaica closes its play for the Davis Cup Group 2 qualifier. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Help is coming for banana and plantain farmers who were badly affected by Hurricane Melissa last October. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining has announced a $100 million recovery program to aid their recovery. The initiative, to be implemented by the Banana Board and the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, is expected to assist about 5,000 farmers and rehabilitate more than 2,500 hectares of damaged farmland. Speaking at a press briefing at the ministry's head office in Hope Gardens, St. Andrew, Portfolio Minister Floyd Green said farmers will receive fertilizer support based on verified damage assessments and farm size. Minister Green notes that while banana and plantain crops typically take 6 to 8 months to recover, the intervention is expected to accelerate that process. He also revealed that some farmers have already begun rebuilding, supported by a catastrophe fund funded by the Banana Board, with payouts already issued to assist the nutritional programs. The National Water Commission is stepping up its crackdown on illegal water connections, warning that water theft is putting communities, public health, and national water security at risk. NWC officials say illegal lines reduce pressure, contaminate the system, and leave paying customers without water as crews intensify operations to remove unauthorized connection and restore proper supply.
This is one of the illegal connections that is made into the network, and we're going to track this line to see where it goes.
The live line.
Come guys, lift the hose, come on man. Typical example of what happened. So when as the team is in the air, then they will do things like this. As you see, the water is just running to waste.
Water theft is a self-serving act that has wide impact on our society, one that surpasses the idea of sticking it to the man. It reduces national availability when intended supply cannot reach schools, businesses, or legally connected households.
You have to have the pressure to get the flow so it can go throughout the network to serve our customers. Illegal connections are uncontrolled points of connection on our network. These are connections that are not supervised and controlled, wherein people normally make it and the water run to waste.
It raises the national cost when the government absorbs the loss through infrastructure repairs and has to truck water to those without. It undermines public trust when law-abiding customers experience inconsistent supply while seeing others receive water illegally.
It also poses safety to the workers of NWC, where some persons utilizes the NWC pipeline for grounding purposes when they are also extracting electricity. So when our workers are there to remove it, then it becomes a safety risk. Sometimes illegal connections run across other person's property, and these illegal lines from JPS as well that they utilize also goes across, which can cause harm to individuals not knowing that it is there. It can also cause contamination to our system, wherein there is no system set up to prevent the water from coming back into our system when the illegal connection is taken. So they take it, store it at one point, and it can also return to the system and supply to somebody else. So they can now have a contaminated source, and it comes back from the contaminated source into the system and causes danger to persons below that point of the connection.
We'll continue this feature in our next newscast. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has welcomed the donation of 10,000 square foot ballistic rated medical dome and up to 100 hospital beds to assist Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James, saying it will ease pressure on the accident and emergency department. The support comes as the hospital continues recovery and rehabilitation following damage from Hurricane Melissa last October. Dr. Tufton says services are steadily being restored, with 75 beds returned in recent weeks, bringing capacity to about 259 beds, or 75% of pre-hurricane levels, after the storm had knocked out nearly half of the hospital's beds and increased A&E wait times. Minister of Education Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says her participation in the 2026 World Government Summit was enlightening. In a short report on social media, the Education Minister explained that she was able to share information about Jamaica's system and learn from other education officials from across the globe.
It was all about coming here to talk about education, to learn more about what we could do better. I got the chance to meet with some of our key multilateral partners that are supporting education in Jamaica. I was able to talk about what we are doing in Jamaica to improve the entire education system and to do so to a world audience.
She says she was able to speak with potential partners who would be able to help Jamaica further its own education agenda.
And also to develop relationships that can help us in furthering our own education institutions, especially when it comes to technology, artificial intelligence, how we get our children to be the best and in demand anywhere they will go.
The summit was held under the theme, Shaping Future Governments. It brought together government officials, international organizations, thought leaders, and private sector leaders from around the globe to foster international cooperation and innovative solutions for future challenges. Plans are moving ahead for the redevelopment of Rudolph Elder Park in Morant Bay, aimed at improving recreation, preserving history, and boosting economic activity in St. Thomas. Chief Executive Officer of the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation in Jamaica, Mr. Kevin McIndoe, went on a site visit recently.
Some of the features that will be included in this park include a jogging trail, a concessionary area, and a newly redeveloped bathroom.
Funded by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, the project will modernize the park with upgraded infrastructure, new amenities such as sports courts, a water fountain, parking, and rental shops, while ensuring accessibility and community input. The project is expected to go to tender before the end of the current fiscal year, with construction slated to begin in the second quarter of the 2026-2027 financial year, and will also incorporate historical storytelling to honor Morant Bay's cultural legacy. Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. In a statement issued on February 5, Fitch Ratings has affirmed Jamaica's long-term foreign and local currency issuer default rating at BB- and maintained a stable outlook. The rating agency cited the government's continued commitment to macroeconomic stability, even as it manages the fallout from Hurricane Melissa, which caused an estimated US $8.8 billion in physical damage, equivalent to 40% of gross domestic product. Fitch projects temporary economic contraction in 2025 of 1.5% and 2.6% in 2026 as reconstruction advances. Still, it highlighted Jamaica's strong financial preparedness, including multilateral loan support, insurance coverage, and contingency funds. It also noted the government's fiscal response, including the temporary suspension of the Fiscal Responsibility Law to facilitate reconstruction. Finance Minister Favour Williams welcomed the affirmation, saying it reflects Jamaica's long-standing commitment to fiscal discipline and debt reduction despite recent challenges. Mayberry Investment Group subsidiary Mayberry Jamaican Equities says it recorded $899 million in unrealized losses on its investment in Jamaica Broilers Group after that company's stock price fell by 53% last year. Unrealized losses refer to paper losses caused by decline in the market value of investments that are not recognized until the assets are sold. Mayberry told RJR News that total unrealized losses on its financial instruments reached $1.22 billion, while losses on companies which it holds equity investments amounted to $3.2 billion. Together, these contributed to the company posted an overall net loss of $4.93 billion for the year. The sharp declining Jamaica Broilers share price prompted Mayberry chairman Christopher Berry to say he is shocked and disappointed by the developments at the company's U.S. subsidiary. Accounting irregularities at Jamaica Broilers' U.S. subsidiary led to a $46 billion restatement of accounts and a net loss of $7.2 billion last year. For the trading period of February 6, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 4,870,703 units, representing 26.46% of market sales activities. Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 2,704,664 units, representing 14.69% of market sales activities. Wigton Energy Limited with 1,202,040 units, representing 6.53% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in transportation, wind energy, and advertising plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for February 6, 2026, Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity with the US selling at $157.14 and buying at $155.56. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by 49-cent transaction spreads. And this meant the Canadian dollar sold for $115.31 and was bought for $114.82. Continued volatility in the British pound offered short-term trading opportunities of $3.63 in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $212.91 and was bought for $209.28. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. In our credit report tip of the day, many professionals experience a disconnect with their credit because they assume their ideas, expertise, and integrity should naturally translate into funding, while banks operate from an entirely different logic centered on risk prediction rather than value creation. Credit is not an evaluation of your intelligence or your vision. It's just a statistical sum of how somebody has historically managed financial obligations under pressure, which banks use to assess predictability and loss avoidance. When professionals take credit personally or view it as a moral judgment, they disengage strategically, overlook that funding conversations begin with structure, track record, and risk signals long before ideas are considered. For our funding and focus feature, once you decide on accessing government funding to grow cash flow in your business, the way you operate must change. Written policies demonstrate operational maturity. Quality control, record keeping, and execution procedures show that a business can meet government standards. We want businesses to understand that creating simple, practical, standard operating procedures support procurement compliance. As an example, our client Trevon once ran operations by memory, but with professional templates, his standard operating procedures demonstrated readiness and reliability. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, the European Union is removing Antigua and Barbuda from its grey list, marking a major milestone in the country's tax reform efforts. The decision follows an upgrade by the Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes, which now rates Antigua and Barbuda as largely compliant, reflecting significant progress since 2023. The move comes after intensive legislation and regulatory reforms, with officials at the Inland Revenue Department welcoming the development.
In 2023, the European Union added Antigua and Barbuda to its list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes, citing deficiencies in the country's exchange of tax information. At the time, this country's rating from the Global Forum was partially compliant. That report painted a picture of gaps in this country's tax governance framework. This called for immediate action.
As a jurisdiction, we committed to correct the legal and operational deficiencies identified in the Global Forum report. And we made commitments to implement concrete plans for legislative and administrative actions to address the deficiencies by July 2024.
The work began, addressing the deficiencies, plugging the holes, and with steady progress, a request was filed for a supplementary review.
As a result of some preliminary work that was done by us, we were able to demonstrate to the Global Forum that we were committed to achieve their standard. So when we filed a request for what we call a supplementary review in the summer of 2024, it was granted by the Global Forum. And as a result, we were removed from what we call the blacklist, and we were placed on a grey list.
From the black to the grey. However, according to IRD Commissioner Ralph Warner, the objective was to ensure the country is removed from all such lists. In order for this to come to fruition, Antigua and Barbuda needed a country rating of largely compliant. And so the work continued, with the IRD engaging all stakeholders, the Office of National Drug and Money Laundering Control Policy, Financial Services Regulatory Commission, the Central Bank, Intellectual Property and Commerce Office, and the Attorney General's Office. Meetings were held for almost a year, addressing all the deficiencies cited in the Global Forum report. Antigua and Barbuda has made significant progress since 2024, ultimately leading to a positive result. Commissioner Ralph Warner breaks it down.
Our financial system was basically disaggregated into 10 elements, and each element was given a rating of either compliance, non-compliance, or partially compliance. Antigua and Barbuda as a jurisdiction were able to demonstrate our effectiveness, and basically a lot of our ratings were either compliant or largely compliant. And as a result, our overall rating was increased.
Barbados' Prime Minister, Mia Mottley, says shifting global tensions and rising concerns about crime at home were among the key factors behind her decision to contest another general election, noting that stepping away from leadership at this time would have been, in her words, almost an act of treason. She was addressing a crowd at 6 Rose, St. Philip, during the Barbados Labour Party's national meeting.
So that when I saw what was happening last year with the tariffs and with the geopolitical struggles and the threats that were starting to come into the Caribbean as a zone of peace, we knew that there would be issues with Cuba and Venezuela and all of that. And we knew that should anything break in Venezuela, Barbados was the largest tourism hub nearest to Venezuela. And as we saw on the 3rd of January, we paid the largest price because it was our country that saw the greatest number of cancellation of flights with respect to tourists and by extension also to the cruise lines. I recognize that I also served as Minister of Education for 7 years and Attorney General for 5 years, and that there would be very few people who would be able to bring together what was necessary to start to deal with the strengthening of our law enforcement system, the reform of our criminal justice system, and the need to build strong societies, strong communities, strong families to fight crime, to prevent crime in this country. And ironically, that is how Michael Lashley and I started talking, because we saw Barbados first, not party. And those were the 2 reasons predominantly that caused me to change my mind.
In sports, we're on the court with tennis. Jamaica's Davis Cup campaign ended on Sunday after a 3-1 loss to Uruguay in their Group 2 qualifier at the Ligani Club in New Kingston. Jamaica was trying to qualify for the Davis Cup Group 2 for the first time in 2 years, having lost to Barbados in 2024 and New Zealand in 2025, both at the Eric Bell National Tennis Center in Kingston. Jamaica's last success at this stage came in 2023, when they defeated Estonia. Over now to cricket. Pace bowler Romario Shepherd helped the West Indies blow away Scotland's tail to win by 35 runs in their Group C 2026 T20 World Cup opener in Kolkata on Saturday. Shepherd grabbed a sensational 4 wickets in 5 balls in the 17th over to put an end to Scotland's hopes of chasing their target of 183. Shimron Hetmeyer's 36-ball 64 at Eden Gardens earlier propelled the West Indies to the 182 for 5 in their 20 overs. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.